Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Facebook Live. It is the 14th of September, year 2022. Um, welcome. Hope everyone is having a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Before I get started, I just wanted to let everyone know. Actually, I'll wait for people to jump on live before I talk about this. Let's get started. Let me introduce our panel today. We have Kelly, who is our Qigong teacher and has been on a panel for 2-3 years. So welcome, Kelly, and his partner, Kelly, is with us too. Good evening, Kelly. And then we have Michelle, who's been part of a core group of meditators. Good evening, Michelle. Francesca is here. I think she's off video, so she will come back on. And then Patricia is here as well, who is part of our core group of meditators. Patricia, if you wanted to start off with your question, and I'll tag everyone, and I may have like a public service announcement before you start. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. And thank you for allowing my question to pop up. It actually has 3 components to it. It's question about loneliness, but somehow with it, it's the letting go part and the reconciliation part. So loneliness, it's I guess once we move on our spiritual journey and our vibrations change and other people are maybe not recognize us, or they still have our old image in their heads. What happens if you can't let go of certain relationship or certain people in your life? Like they still, it's not a very needy part, but you realize that, you know, you would like them in your life, but they don't respond to maybe the new you, or then they don't trust that you did that spiritual work that allowed you to understand maybe what did not work in the past. So that's the part of letting go, that it's still not happening. And then a reconciliation part, that if there are relationships that I would like to salvage, and I followed Thich Nhat Hanh, even loving speech examples of, you know, admitting seeing that other person suffering, and, you know, asking them to let me know, to understand better, so I don't want to make them suffer anymore. But then there's no really response from the other person. So again, 3 parts: the loneliness still lingering, the letting go, and the reconciliation. Thank you. What's your advice?
Thank you so much, Patricia. Before Kelly gets started, I wanted to let everyone know it's 2 weeks until we have our workshop. The workshop is a perfect, what I would say, and I forgot to write it in the email that I sent to everyone to invite them to sign up for the workshop. The biggest job we can do is break the habit of being ourselves. And the workshop is a perfect vehicle to do exactly that, because on Saturday and Sunday, it's a 2-day workshop. It's 5 hours a day. You're not doing your normal thing. You're not going with your family and doing your normal thing. You're not celebrating. You're not partying. Try and change that weekend to something that is extremely sacred. Honor yourself. Like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, right? Live from that space of nobility, live from that space of divinity for that weekend, and see how it makes a difference, that you can actually be that every moment of your day. It doesn't just have to be that weekend. But the session leaders are extremely excited about offering the sessions. So, and we are like beyond exalted joy that we have this workshop, which will be the last workshop for this year. So please do sign up. Please do make the time to break the habit of being yourself. And Kelly, go ahead if you want to start. Thank you.
Is Kelly?
Yes.
Well, let's see. Loneliness is an ego perspective, a 3D ego perspective. Because in the great cosmic ocean, we are never without our spirit guides. We are never without our guardian angels. We are never without those that have passed on before us. They're always there in our energy field. There is a thing about human connection that we are always seeking, not because it's an ego thing, but because we're human. And we're connected to divine realities in the cosmic ocean. And we have aspects of our realities that we're trying to process intellectually that don't make sense because they're emotional and they're a feeling. And this is information, especially when it comes to human connection, that the mind can't understand and can mentally analyze. And when I've dealt with loneliness, growing up out in the country, I was alone a lot of the times. Mom and dad working in the city an awful lot. I got used to being by myself. Being alone is a particular skill set that our modern society does not support. Our modern society, and I use that term loosely, is based on overwhelming information, overwhelming social connection, overwhelming media, overwhelming everything to keep us overwhelmed so that we don't learn how to sit with ourselves and be alone with ourselves. Sitting with ourselves is literally what Zen means. And it's what meditation is all about, and prayer, or regardless of what form it takes, whether or not it's verbal or physical practice, or whether or not you just go for a walk down the road. Having friends is always an interesting aspect of being human. Again, I am, I've always had a lot of friends. I've always had a very small social circle. The people that I actually spend time with has always been very small. And that's my personal preference. And that's where I've always been. Reconciliation in terms of friendships and relationships, we don't need the other person to reconcile what we feel. And what we feel is always our own personal experience. And other people's input into our own personal experience, while sometimes valid and appreciated and relevant, is always a reflection of where they're at. The healing aspect of being human and being on a journey and being aware of how we want to live, how we want to reconcile friction and conflict, is always an area where we have to be very careful about whether or not we are acting from a space of control, whether or not there's a passive aggressive element of our emotional makeup that is seeking to define our emotional spaces through conflict or reconciliation. Anything that is outside of us is a reflection of information. So needing to reflect on what kind of information, what we are feeling, and digging through the layers of mental, emotional information involved in a connection with someone is always really, really important. I have people that I'm connected to that are also not in my life. We're sort of, friends and acquaintances, people that I've worked with that I know I have a connection with, but are not a part of my life. And we sort of have this, friendship at a distance kind of thing, especially after the last 2 years. Was there a third part to the question? I'm trying to remember all of the elements of what you were asking, Patricia.
Thank you. The third point was letting go. I think that, I still have, I thought I did, I understood that things change, but a lot of people left, and some of them I didn't want to necessarily go. I wanted them to experience my transformation and want to go back to offer my new understanding, my new self, my new love, but there's no response. Like it is specifically my very best friend, a teacher that actually introduced me to the power of now. It was in her house. I think it was like 8 years ago that I found that book. She didn't even read it. She got it from someone and she said, "Oh yeah, you can have it." I'm like, okay. And so many things, we going through divorces together. We were, so it was a lot of, she basically mothered me when I came to United States, when I moved from Long Island to here, with her like open heart and all the guidance. We raised our kids together. We lived literally next door, stuff like this. And so that's the one I'm missing. And the other one is my brother. I mean, I know we had a Zoom call a few months back when I was also explaining about the relationship with my brother. And I know then Ken was sharing his experience, but I tried again. But he said to me over the Skype, because I was Skyping with my mom and he happened to be there. And I wanted to wish him happy name day, because in Polish they celebrate name days.
Yep.
And he said, we haven't been wishing each other happy name day for years now, so let's keep it that way. And he just got off. So then, it's just
Well,
the letting go part. In other words, how do I just let go and understand that they don't want me back, or they're not, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cry. I guess it's still not healed. Sorry.
No, don't apologize for crying. That's not allowed.
I guess I'm apologizing really to myself, because I thought I was so solid in love that now again I'm getting rejected, I guess, and it hurts still.
It can still hurt being rejected when you are solid in love. Being solid and strong in yourself and loving yourself doesn't mean that you become impervious to feeling hurt. You can be very disappointed, and that is normal and natural. You don't become immune to feelings and emotions along this journey. That's not how this works. The more you actually love yourself and the more you dig through and heal yourself, the more you dig through your wounds and heal yourself, the more sensitive you become, and stronger at the same time. So there's this juxtaposition of, and especially you come from the Polish cultural framework of, emotional awareness, right? My German, Russian background, Irish, Catholic Irish, is that stoic. You don't show emotion. You don't strength is very, very stoic, right? On all levels. And just, take that, open the window, throw it out, because stoicness is not how healing works. The kind of strength that you find in healing is far stronger than anything else. And it is also very intimidating to people, which is why sometimes people will not engage with you after a certain point. Because when you become more emotionally aware and more conscious of actively participating in your emotional health, it becomes intimidating, and people won't know why. Sometimes they will, and they won't communicate it. But in general, people, it is about the energy of the space that you hold for yourself. Now, people won't want to interact it when they're not able to relate to it, and it will cause people who are still in their egos and still very much controlled by their shadow program. It'll cause those people to unconsciously avoid you. I've experienced that a great deal in my life, and I've just come to accept it. It's normal. I've had that happen teaching classes where people will love my class for 1 or 2 classes and then never ever show up. And I don't move my class. I don't change what I'm teaching. They can't take the energy, the fact that their shadow, their ego has no room to feed off of me.
Mm-hmm.
So this is sort of one of the things, like people's egos will seek to feed and continue to feed in the old ways that they're used to, especially when it comes to family. Especially when it comes to family or close friends, who, get used to who you are at a certain stage in life and don't want you to ever change. And when you do change and when you grow beyond those spaces, they stop interacting. And, they might explain it to you. They might never understand it, which, you know what, is perfectly all right. Because the only thing that you're responsible for is you, how you feel, how you are healing, how you are choosing to move forward and love
This
yourself.
is still a little bit of part of being into somebody's business, because I really see how much my brother is suffering. He's still stuck with my parents and the old programming. And I wanted to offer him like a little window that there is a reason why I left. And, I can share with him maybe certain things that he could start seeing differently and maybe, help him heal, because he did have a heart attack a few years back, So, and he's 9 years younger. So, and he is beautiful 2 little girls, and they don't have a good relationship with the mother. They're not even married. She's very unhappy. So, I
So,
thought that maybe I can offer some guidance to him as an older sibling, that you could change.
which is a beautiful intention. It absolutely is a beautiful, wonderful intention. And family is always the hardest to let go of, because the energy of our blood bond is the strongest. It's always the greatest learning experience too. I appreciate absolutely wanting to help and support your brother. I have a brother who is so different than me. It's not even, I have no words. I have no words for how, like, just, like 2 ships passing in the night. We'll never ever know. And that for me, again, like, it's been a huge learning experience. I've wanted to support family members. I wanted to support my brother. I've wanted to help people in my family grow beyond the patterns that they're stuck in, that to me are so supremely obvious, but to them it's their comfort zone, and they don't want to, and they never will, which is, again, a great point of context for understanding at a soul level, people have chosen, and they've chosen their opportunities to learn and to wake up, and they've created these paths where they'll have, like your brother has you in his life. He knows on a subconscious level that he could talk to you and wake up and heal, right? But his rejection of you is more comfortable. I've had to deal with this type of rejection from family members my entire life. So speaking from my perspective, this is, and for me, from my perspective, has always been about understanding people's fears and the gift of the information from your brother and from your family, you know, choosing not to interact. Don't see it, I mean, try and see it as a learning experience that it is. Again, you know, I'm not you, I'm not your brother, I'm not family, I'm just speaking from my own perspective and personal experience. I've gotten used to this kind of thing. It doesn't change the fact that it's hard. It's still hard. You know, I love my parents, I love my family, I love my brother, but I don't talk to my brother really. I don't talk to, you know, my family about most of the stuff that I do, most of the spiritual work that I do, because most of them are just, you know, deer caught in headlights. So give me this blank look of like, oh, that's too much work.
So what you do, you were sitting with that, you were feeling that, and then how you transcended the feeling into something like, did you send love to them, like, you know, I love you, accept you, you know,
Yep.
stuff like
Yep.
that, to just transcend that feeling into something that will maybe do some good on the spirit.
And I do express gratitude in my family's direction for showing me how different I am.
Mm. Wow.
And that's usually the primary thing that I do. And being okay and telling myself, it's like, I'm okay being this different. And that's sort of like the primary thing that I do is I offer gratitude and I give thanks for my family showing me how different I truly am and how much strength I have learned from being different and choosing my own path.
I did the healing a lot. This is last thing. I know that all of you want to talk. The last thing that I did the healing and acceptance of my parents, because I kind of understood that they couldn't transcend that their programming, so they load me and my brother with it. But I kind of wanted there, I thought there's still hope. If I'm on that path, that maybe I can pull my brother, because he even got kind of worse of it because he is still there so many years after I left, because I, you know, I physically actually had to run away because I couldn't. So I was so grateful for him to actually be, I begged God to have a brother, because I couldn't stand alone with that. And the minute he was born, I was the happiest. I named him. You know, I didn't raise him, but I just did everything with schoolwork, taking him, bathing. I mean, I was like a little mommy for him. You know, then he rebelled against me when he started to be a teenager. And then
Yep.
when I was a young adult, I left because I felt that now they have him. But wasn't, and he holds it against me that I left him behind. But now I'm offering to pull him, but I had to do this for myself. I had to leave because I don't think I would be honestly, mentally even functioning at this point if I didn't. So like I said, this is the hardest part for me, to let go of wanting to help him, because with my parents, I'm able to find the peace in my heart to love them and accept them and understand that I'm not blaming them. I'm grateful for the lessons they gave me. But with my brother, is still pretty raw.
You know, one of the things that I just like to add is that's okay too, you know. Feel that connection. There's nothing wrong with feeling that connection, that love for your brother, and wanting to have that kind of relationship or growth or help him. I mean, I still wish I could help my brother. There's some parallels here in terms of my brother and his marriage, and the fact that the woman that I married was, he and I married the same kind of person. I got out, he didn't. So I know that on some level, my brother truly resents the fact that I got out. He and I have had conversations, and I get to, it gets a little too real, and then he's like, okay, I got to go do something. And he'll always leave when it gets a little too real, because that's his defense mechanism. And he, it's happened enough times that it's not that I have any hope. It's that I understand and accept. And I just allow him to be in the space that he's in. I know his ego is way too fragile to have certain real conversations. And, my entire family's like that. And, again, it's okay to feel connection and to feel love for people and to want more for them. And also accept that there is this gap, that there is a space that may never be crossed. And that's just the way things are sometimes, especially with family. And it's important to understand that at a soul level, your brother absolutely knows that you love him. He absolutely does. And, from my understanding of soul contracts and that perspective on things, it's really helped me let go of a lot of people that I am connected with that I don't have really anything to do with anymore. Except maybe the odd text every once in a while.
It helped me a huge deal, you're right, to let go of my husband. The minute I started to be grateful for everything, every lesson, everything he did for me, I was able to even talk about him to my daughter much easier than before, when I just couldn't, I had to yell. I mean, he just bringing his name, I was full of anger.
And sometimes that's just the way it is. And like, again, listening, go underneath. One of the things that I keep in mind all the time is that at a soul level, there's only love.
So
no matter how a person is interacting with me or throwing their anger or their sadness or their grief around, at a soul level, it's all just love. And that's sort of like, hard for the linear 3D mind to understand, because we want control. Our egos want control. Our shadow wants control. Our shadow wants to manipulate and leverage and be angry and wallow in our anger and our despair and the extreme of emotional energy so that it can feed itself. But at a soul level, I mean, everything is love. I mean, it is sort of where the whole concept of where we are all one comes from. But it's hard to also digest and let ourselves feel that and accept that as a legitimate feeling, as a real, like, how can that be when I have all this unresolved tension, emotional stuff? And you know what? That's just the way that it is. You can have all that unresolved emotional tension, and underneath it, there's still love. There always is.
Amazing. Thank you, Kelly. I'm sorry to keep you that long, but wow, every word was gold. Thank you.
My pleasure. 4 cents, 3.5.
I got like $1 million from you today.
The jar is filling up. Thank you, Kelly. Incredible. Thank you for the guidance. Lakshmi says loneliness is when you are disconnected from the divine and feel lack and incompleteness. Solitude is when you start enjoying your own company. I experience both. Love solitude now. And she also added that she's extremely excited to teach some incredible mantras since she is one of the session leaders. And we are excited about her session as well. She's always sweet and precious.
Yeah, everybody that's on it must sign up. I encourage you. I did. It's incredible. Every single workshop, you just got a little taste of what Kelly has to offer. So please, whoever is listening, invite you so much with the depth of my heart to sign for the
So-
workshop.
So Michelle said something towards the end. You can read it, Patricia. One of the things that Dr. Joe Dispenza says, right? Like, I think in Becoming Supernatural, as well as when he is teaching the progressive workshop, what he does is he does a picture of the person, like we are a person, and then he does, where is our energy flowing? And this is something that Francesca talked about 2 weeks back. Like, it's going in the WhatsApp, it's going in the Facebook, it's going in the friend who won't talk to me, it's going in the brother that won't talk to me, it's going in the father that won't talk to me, the mother that won't talk to me, and then another so and so that won't talk to me. And when those connections, he's doing it on the whiteboard, and then he's doing those stars, and then he just takes a eraser and says, okay, what if this friend goes away? And what if this parent goes away? And what if this brother goes away? Look how much energy you have back. This is what Francesca said, remember? That she got her energy back from her sister, wasting it on her sister. Look how much energy you have back. You're not understanding the power you're getting back when people are cutting off the relationships. And the other thing he talks about in one of the progressive workshops, I think it's in the intensive or progressive, there's so much information that I can't remember which one's which, but he talks about this quantum entanglement, right? We are entangled, our pain and their pain being from the same parents, you're entangled with your brother. What does it take to separate two atoms? A lot of energy. You cannot do it matter to matter. You cannot do it with the thinking mind. You cannot say, oh, I need to, like, intellectually, I understand spirituality and I need to get my brother to understand. You have to become more wave, which is being in the unknown. You have to raise your vibrational frequency, and that will disentangle the two. That will break the entanglement that you have. And to that, I'll give you an example. And I've talked about this during Facebook Live Q&A quite a few times. My mother stopped talking to me in 2002. And there were like 7 years that she didn't talk to me. Here at work, I was harassed, sexually harassed. And what I had decided, because that other person was from Pakistan, and because India and Pakistan have such a hostile relationship, I said, this is one time I'm going to forgive this person, just because I understand that it is like, I understand that condition. I don't know. I didn't even have Eckhart's teachings at that time, but I knew that the countries were always like, it's an ingrained conditioned pattern to hate each other, right? And I chose, no, I am not going to show that I hate this person, right? And I'm going to make sure that I erase each and every instant message, email, whatever was this thing, so that that desire even does not, where other people are saying, right, you need to sue the company for sexual harassment kind of thing. And I was like, no, I'm not even going to do that. Out of that forgiveness, it's nothing happened in that sense. But my mom, through my brother, said, hey, I want you to come visit India. Why don't you come visit India? So I realized in that forgiveness, so something changed within us, that the quantum entanglement that I had with my mom, it disentangled. Like, I had gone into such a deep gratitude and forgiveness, more of forgiveness for this person, that forgiveness, that wave like frequency, disentangled me from whatever was going on with my mother. And my mother said, I want to see you. You need to get on a plane and come visit me. And I immediately, in 2009, I took my son and we visited India, right? So you don't know what is your shadow work that you still need to do within yourself, right? There is some emotion that is quantum entangled with your brother, and that needs to disengage. The same thing with this friend. You need to disentangle whatever that quantum entanglement is. The third thing about Dr. Joe Dispenza, he says that he no longer wants to talk about the past. He doesn't want to talk to people about, oh, this person is in the hospital and this person is, you know how when we old friends get together, we are gossiping about our exes or gossiping about.
Yeah, I agree. I
So,
don't want to talk about past and stuff. I was kind of hoping to
but
get him on the
realize
right to go into the future.
what is the shared relationship with a person from the past? What are you going to go back to with a shared relationship from a person with the past? It's all, how was your ex-husband? How was her ex-husband? So aren't you grateful that you are not, that the fact that that connection is getting disconnected, you no longer have to visit that past,
Oh my gosh, you're right.
right? No longer do I have to sit and gossip about my ex-husband. No longer does that person have to gossip to me about their ex-husband and how bad their ex-husband is, or how a terrible. I want to talk to people like all of you about creating a new future. I want to talk to Francesca about what she's going to do as a new teacher, right? Her inner work alchemy, I want to see. I want to talk to these kind of people, right? That are going to inspire me. What am I going to give out to the universe? How am I going to serve this world? I want to talk to these people.
I actually, you brought something quickly because I'm signed up for Tony Robbins, the World Summit of the Time to Thrive, and this whole program is because you inspired me that maybe I have something to offer, to someone like me, years back that would appreciate the bridge, faster to get where I am. But over those old relations came up, and then because I guess I'm trying to see, if there is something I can offer, but the people that were part of my past when I needed, they don't want me back. So that's probably where it came from a little bit too, that my doubt that did I change? Do I really have something to offer? Kind of those questions.
I mean, keep working on it and something will come out, right? That's what manifestation is. The more where attention goes, energy flows. The more attention we give, hey, I want to create this. I mean, look, I wanted to do something more for the group. And suddenly this mastermind thing came through, right? And when they were presenting the mastermind thing, I went, oh, I can offer workshops. Like I don't need to build a course yet, but I can offer workshops. I can give, yeah, I'm doing group meditations, and I was creating those videos since 2019, right? Those teaching videos kind of thing on YouTube. And I was like, oh, I can do workshops now, right? So the universe itself will come help you along when you but your energy is going in your past. My brother, my sister, my father, no, they're the past. You don't need your past.
Yes, it's probably because I'm supposed to turn my mess into message. So maybe that's what kind of put me, what is my mess? What is my message? So maybe that's, I was like revisiting it. And while I was doing it, I maybe realized that maybe I need to reconcile first.
No, you don't need to reconcile. You just need to work on being more wave-like than particle. Matter to matter, we cannot do anything. Matter to matter, I mean, even medical medium, it's matter to matter. We are trying to do something. That's why we do the blessings of the energy center. The more wave, the more we go into the unknown, the more we stay in that abundance of the unknown, right? The infinity of the unknown, and experiencing the feelings of I'm empowered, I'm unlimited, I'm a mystic, I'm a healer. Knowing of that, even medical medium today on his the video that I shared, he said like he watches his white blood cells and watches them, visualizes them eating up all the toxins every night. That's what he visualizes, right? So that's the thing. Nobody's staying in the past. They're like manifesting, creating a new future, right? Healing. I'm a healer. So let's go to Kelly with an IE. Since your partner said something, let's see what you have to say, Kelly.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that was very well said. So I won't repeat anything that he said, and Poonam had a lot of great things to say as well. There's one thing you said, Patricia, that kind of stuck with me, that when you said you felt sad because you felt a part of you felt rejected by people, and you want to share that part of you that's changed. But sometimes what our ego does is that because we feel sad, we think it's about being rejected by someone else, when actually, because you're accepting more of yourself, you are no longer rejecting you. You know that you've changed, you know that you've grown, and you just want to share that. And our ego will try to make it about other people rejecting us when you're actually sad at how long you've rejected yourself. So you got to let that sadness come out, because you're no longer doing that to yourself anymore. And so you're accepting so much more of yourself. And it's so easy for us to get caught in those emotions because it's really tricky. And I know because I've caught myself in those things too, is that when I haven't seen a friend in a while, but I know that it wasn't a great relationship, so there's a part of me that's grateful, I always ask myself, well, why are they in my head right now? Why am I thinking about them? Is there something, when you're talking about reconciliation, for example, that I need to reconcile just within myself, that I'm still not accepting about myself, or maybe the situation, or who knows, it could be something completely different. But I just wanted to say that that's what our ego does, is it'll make it, because we feel sad, it's going to try to make it about something else instead of about how much healing work you've actually done for yourself, and that you should be proud of how much work you've done and what you've let go of and how you're growing. And sometimes, like, I'm very particular about where I put my energy. And I used to want to have lots of groups of friends, but I've always had one or two good friends that I kind of hang out with. And I'm very choosy about when and who I hang out with. And I always feel out where I'm at, because that's always, to me, the most important thing is, how do I feel? Is hanging out with this person today going to make me feel better or worse? Because if I'm shifting something and moving something in myself, sometimes I just need time to myself, and I shouldn't have to apologize for that. And nobody should ever have to apologize for doing what they feel is best for them. But we often do, because we don't want to be rejected. We want to be liked. We want to, all these other things. But does that actually matter if we're hurting ourselves doing something? So I know I'm always very choosy about, and I don't apologize for it. And something that I've gotten better at over the years is knowing when something is finished and being okay when something is finished. Because some relationships last for a long time. I have friends who I'll go months without seeing them, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we'll get together for a few hours and then we're good for another few months. And then I have other friends that I hang out with, a little more often. But I have really just learned how to love being by myself and love doing things. And when I get up every day, my children are older, so I don't have to really think about what they're doing so much anymore. But I choose what I want to do that day. Who am I going to be with? Where am I going to put my energy? And if I find that my energy is going somewhere else, outside, going too much to something, I always want to bring it back in. Because a lot of times we worry about what people are thinking, and they might not even be worrying about us at all. But we're giving, like Poonam said, like, we're giving all that energy away to something, whereas somebody else is not giving the same energy back. So I always look at where is my energy going and where do I want it to go? today. So I don't know if that helps. I know I didn't answer all of your questions, but I didn't want to go on.
That was incredible. Incredible. That was just that almost like a missing piece, with everything else that put a completely new light where the feeling is coming from. I really was not, I thought it was just my, lack of them in my life, not, you put it in such a different perspective. That's incredible. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
Well, I like to do that. I'm always the kind of person that I'm like, hey, there's another side to this coin. Let's look at that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kelly. Caesar, did you want to say something, Caesar? Because she's going to leave exactly at the top of the hour. So
Sure. So great advice by Kelly and Poonam thus far. This is awesome and amazing. And Patricia, you said, do I have anything to offer? You probably don't even have a clue what you bring to this group. You're like our rock. I mean, with the questions, and you get us to go deeper into everything that we ever discussed. You like go on and on about how amazing and what you have to offer. You already know this deep inside, I'm sure. So I'm going to get at you for a minute here. So don't get mad at me. Yeah. So I just wanted to shift gears on what Kelly and Kelly were talking about, but it's kind of in line with everything. And speaking of being in line, so you're making where your brother's at your problem, but we understand that he's right where he is supposed to be at this exact time. And you're making it an issue for yourself because it's not the way you want it to be or think it should be. So that's huge right off the bat. You're again assuming things. That's like, the 4 agreements. You're assuming these people just don't want you. So therefore, the mind's going to take you in every direction on trying to. And the mind, when we don't know why something is the way it is, our mind will take us to the worst possible place, the worst scenario. That's just what it does. And 95% of the time, it's never the case. But regardless, don't assume it is the way it is because of any reason that you might think it is. That's not for you. Just know that your brother is exactly where he is supposed to be. He's not in the country, is he? He's exactly where he is supposed to be at this moment. If he was supposed to be in the States, he would be. He's not ready yet. There's a reason why he's not here. Something has to happen there for him in order for him to get to the next level. If that's even in his cards, we don't know. So, and do you understand? Let's talk about the physical mind versus the non-physical mind. Because the physical mind is going to want the things on the surface to be as, what you want it to be and how you think it should be. Where if you just listen to the physical or the non-physical mind, that's your soul speaking. That's like your intuition. And it's always giving you the path of least resistance to what feels good and what happiness is and joy and peace. And that starts with your vibrational frequency. So what end of the stick are you on, Patricia? Yeah. So, think about this. So, your thoughts and the way you feel keep producing your reality. So you're in this, for the most part, it seems like you're very happy all the time. But we know maybe when the cameras go off and you lay your head down and that's when the thought starts rushing in, and you probably have a child with your ex-husband, I imagine, right? And so it's hard not to look at her and think of him. And I get it. Been there, done that. However, there's a lot to be grateful for out of that whole thing. And like Kelly Kay said, man, there's just so much. There's just a lot to be grateful for in the whole situation. It's about letting go. It's human nature at our ages to not want to let go when we should. And that might be a relationship. It might be a failing business, anything. we tend to hold on to things longer than we should when we know it's over, and we just grip. That's the ego. That's the back door. Holding on. Nope, I don't want to let go. Love is not this. Love is holding gently things to where if they, like a bird, if the bird wants to fly, you're holding him so gentle that he can. And if he does, wish him well and be grateful he landed in the palm of your hand. Even though you might never see him again, it is what it is. When you're squeezing too tight and you don't want to let somebody go, he should be with me, but I'm not this person that I was, and he would really love me now. And like Kelly was saying, you're seeking that validation. You want your brother so bad to see, or even your ex, you want him to see how amazing you are and how you've made this transformation, and how maybe you could bring that into his life, because you understand that if you rubbed off on him on this journey, oh, how beautiful things will be. But keep in mind, while you're focused on the absence of him, guess what's going to show up? You have the absence of him. That's some more. So maybe change gears on the thought process. It's okay to be in touch with your feelings, but the thought process starts your reality and what you manifest in motion. And it starts with the thoughts. So while you're over there saying, I don't know how to let this go. Well, talking about it is just not letting it go. When you no longer feel the need to even talk about the situation, you have arrived. Now, there's, speaking of arrived. So he who blames nobody. I'm going backwards. He who blames himself is partially there. Oh God, man, I'm messing this all up.
Now it's something that if you blame others,
Who
you're
blames
not
others?
there. If you blame
Doesn't lie.
yourself, you're partially. If you, blame no one.
You have arrived. Yep. So, think about the reality you're creating and what the universe is offering back to you at this time. It's, while you're stuck in this, I feel lonely. Universe says, here's some more things to be lonely about. Well, you say, I wish I could change him. I feel so bad for him. Universe says, here's some more stuff to feel terrible about then. It's always saying yes to what it is. So what is it? The sorrow, the I don't feel special, right? When you
I
should
think
be
I
saying,
wanted to share something with, right now I feel like there's really nobody except you guys. But because even people at work, they just come to work, they do their job, they're very nice to each other, and they leave. And each one of them, it's going back to their life. I come back here and there's nobody here for me too.
Me too. Probably most of us. But listen, that's okay though, Patricia. That's okay. There's something you need to do at this point in your life. When Mr. Right comes through the door, you'll know. But if you're all tied up with Mr. Wrong, thinking and holding on to the past, you're never going to see them things. How do you see what's right in front of you when your eyes are too busy looking in the past? You can't. And it starts with that vibrational frequency again, the gratitude. There's a lot to be grateful for. So when I got my divorce and I felt lonely like you, I found gratitude in, you know what? I'm so grateful for that woman for bearing my children.
Right.
Thank God she wasn't a mess up or this or that or whatever. So there's a million and one things to be grateful for. I was sorry about myself because I couldn't have her. She was mine, and she's no longer mine. But then I realized nothing is mine, not even my children. I had a responsibility to protect them, and provide for them for a short time of their lives. But they're not mine. Our children are not ours. We own nothing.
Right.
And it's okay to be alone. It doesn't mean you're lonely. Poonam just touched on the entanglement, quantum entanglement. We are one. And the one is the all. We are all connected to everything. So just because you're alone doesn't mean that you have to feel lonely. You can be happy with you in this situation. And maybe this is the life lesson that is being offered to you right now. Learn to love you. Learn to enjoy your company. That's all that matters. If you can't be happy with Patricia, who can be happy with Patricia? Because if you think it's an external something that's going to make you happy, you got this thing all wrong. You really do. Because it starts with what's in here. If you don't love this, nobody else can love that, because you're not being a good example of that. You know, you don't seek love, you don't fall in love, you are love. You need to recognize that and accept it fully for this to heal.
I
You
think
know,
I had thanks to you know, all the talks we have and all the connection, and also Poonam's meditation that she sent me of Joe Dispenza. I did a lot of them. So I had a glimpse of the happiness. It's just pure, not related to anything, just that incredible bliss. But then I go back, you know, and I think right now,
totally.
even the disproportion of it, it's like, whoa, why am I still, you know, going back? I guess maybe it's gonna happen a little bit for a while. And
The heart wants what the heart wants. Instead of just allowing things to be as they are, you're putting this spin on things as though this could make you happy. I'll be happy when this happens or that happens.
right.
You're seeking, like, I get the love for your brother. You know, I don't want to see him over there suffering. Believe you me, if he was, how old your brother?
He's
39.
30, 37, 38.
Okay. If he was truly in a bad spot and unhappy, he would probably go. And it might be around the block. It might be to the US, it might even be to Germany.
He's
But
drinking. He's drinking a lot of beer right now, which everybody's yelling at him for because. So
but you
that's the way it goes. Yeah.
and I understand the pain for a loved one, especially family, like Kelly said. You know, it's the hardest thing to sit back and watch somebody you love destroy themselves, you know, for whatever reasons. But the fact of the matter is, you need to focus on you, love you, and then that opens the door for others to love you and do this. What does she got to say? She's such a beautiful person. That's how you offer yourself to the world, not just to an individual. That's how you offer yourself to the world. The greatest gift of all, love. Be that. Be that. Offer that. You know, but it starts with the smile and a little bit of gratitude sprinkled in there. That changes everything instantly, Patricia. Instantly. You have to choose to be happy. It's a choice. You know,
I'm preaching that to others, and then I forget it for myself sometimes.
I have been watching you for at least a year or close to it. And I've watched you do this on the roller coaster the entire way. And I see you grasping for anything that's going to get you through what you're going through, because I think that's the main motivator in you.
Mhm.
And you don't want that pain no more. You don't want that suffering, but you do understand that we are vibrational beings, right?
Yes.
And it starts with that frequency always. So you need to change the mindset. Stop looking for the validation. Stop feeling sorry for your brother. Stop feeling lonely and just learn to enjoy you. Seriously, it doesn't take a book or, I mean, meditation is beautiful, but it's available to you always. Always one conscious breath. As soon as what you're doing, at least what I see and feel, is that when you're up here and you feel great, and then all of a sudden this thought comes in, you see your daughter, you think of him, how bad you want to call him and just say, I just want to spend a day with you so you can see who I really am now. That's not what is important. So what brings you from here to hear. If the thought is only this big and it only lasts 2 seconds, why do you allow it to grow and consume you?
I think
Because
that's what Poonam said, the lack and incompleteness, that I still think that I need to prove anything to someone. Like you said, I'm still looking for validation that the work happened. And yeah, and that I am enough, because, you know, if I feel unhappy being alone, which means maybe I'm not enough to, I need someone else to complete me, right? That makes all sense.
but change, that's beautiful. And so stop giving your attention to the negative view, the feeling sorry. So know that the thought is only this big and it happens that quick. So when one of them thoughts come, do not give it your attention. What you feed grows. When you place your attention on something, it's going to grow. And eventually a negative thought will indeed consume you. And here we are. So take note. When you have this thought, you're feeling good, you wake up tomorrow morning, you find gratitude, you smile, you get out of bed, you got great momentum going. Then you look over and you're watching TV and the news anchor looks like your ex-husband. And you just go, ah.
That was good, Caesar.
Stop right there. Stop right there. And please change the channel. Change the channel. Put your attention elsewhere, because it's taken you out of this beautiful space that you was in 2 seconds ago. And now all of a sudden you're giving him thought, yeah, he looks just like that. Oh God. Oh, I want to call him so bad, but I can't. And then the more you think about it, the more depressed you're going to get. And then now you have that kind of momentum going.
Mm,
Guess what you're creating? You're feeling sorry for yourself.
the
You're
reality,
feeling
the reality.
the universe going, here's some more loneliness. Here's some more stuff to feel sorry for. You need to not allow that to happen. So start the day with gratitude before you even get out of your bed. I don't care what it is. The softness of your pillow, you can find gratitude in. Hold it for like 90 seconds. Just feel that gratitude to the point where you're about to cry. I'm serious.
Okay.
A minute and a half. Then just smile and put your feet on the floor. Start the day. You've now created momentum.
Mm, that's incredible. It sounds so simple, right?
Well,
The
it is
simplest
simple,
thing
but
ever.
again, you just have to realize what you're doing, because this ain't life happening to you. This is life happening for you, but you hold the reins in this fight. It's not even a fight. You hold the reins here in this arena. So like I said, create the good feeling momentum. When that thought comes, that 2-second thought, boop, it's there. It's now your turn to go. You either give that thought attention and break that good gratitude feeling, emotion, and that momentum. And then if you allow yourself to place your attention on that negativity for any length of time, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, now you have officially switched gears from joy and gratitude to empathy. I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm miserable. I'm lonely. And that's the momentum you are now creating. And then do we even have to talk about how the rest of the day is going to shape up for you? No. So just catch yourself. Just catch yourself. When you're in that good mood tomorrow morning, smile. Just know that everything is perfect the way it is. The way it is. God didn't put you on a bobsled and send you right down to the happy-go-lucky at birth. No. So your brother's bouncing off some walls here and there. We're all going to arrive at the same place. But that's his fight, especially in addiction. There's nothing you can do to help an addict other than love him, offer your support and your love, and love them from a distance, baby, because they're not going to stop doing whatever it is they're doing until they're good and ready. And that usually happens, and not only beforehand, till they're at rock bottom. And that has nothing to do with you. Don't take what's happening to him personal. I left, he wouldn't be like this if I never left. Well, you did. Why? Because you were supposed to. Feeling guilty about being here? You're supposed to be here. How do I know? Because you are. Well, just create that good feeling momentum. This isn't,
Good feeling momentum. Got it. Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's very useful tool. Yes. Just
it's easier said than done, obviously, but just understand that when that negative thought comes and it makes you feel a certain way, get away from the thought.
Incredible, because when I started actually my friend that is not responding to me for a year, she was the one that said, Patricia, you need life, you need friends, you have to go on Facebook. I said, I don't want to go on Facebook because it's so not personal. She said, you have to. And she actually she set me up right there and then. And thanks to her, not only I got Power of Now, years back, but now I got Facebook and you guys. So by kind of wanting to get rid of me, she gives me all those tools so I can grow by myself without her kind of nurturing me through the process.
Yeah.
My first thing is, let me finish. My first thing was I put in my Facebook, I created good news department, because I saw Harris says like, so, the good news, because all the news are bad everywhere we go. Let's create good news department in my mind.
Awesome. That's awesome. But I'm watching you in the past 6 months. You have definitely made a huge leap, I believe, in your journey, in your growth. Stay the course. Don't start turning back now. Because you have the power inside and you do. But now I think you're slipping because you're allowing everything to happen. You're allowing yourself to feel sorry. You're allowing yourself to feel lonely.
And like Poonam said, the reason probably what is also happening that my energy is lower because, maybe I wasn't getting enough sleep or depleting. Yep. I get, I just getting off COVID because I was all week, the last week off because everybody, like half the office got COVID. It was just a wave that went through the office. So maybe it's still from that lower energy that now everything familiar, which was negative, comes back.
Yeah. So it's time to change that negative momentum. Yeah. Definitely. Get on that high flying disc, Patricia, and be happy and stay happy. Create that momentum. Give that a try without some break of the current in the course of your day that takes you out of that good feeling momentum, positive momentum. Because when you bring that negativity into your life, you're lowering your vibration more than it already is.
Right.
Climb, aspire, ascend. It feels good up there. It feels good up there.
Yeah, I see you there all the time. I love it. I want what you have.
Well, I'm nobody special. I mean, I do this more so little because I don't allow myself to buy into the negativity. Even if it's something personal with my kids, if they're sick, if they're going through something that doesn't feel good as a parent to watch them go through. Mm-hmm. Why would I allow myself to feel down and out, even though they're my children? Who do you love more than your children? I mean, your parents? I mean, it's love is love, but when we get down in that funk and that negativity, isn't it harder to help somebody? Isn't it harder to love yourself? Because there's so much negativity, you become a negative person. You become a ball of negative energy.
Nobody wants that. Yeah, nobody wants that.
Give the momentum a try, and so just gratitude. Think of him, and you're going to find out soon enough all the things you've been missing out on because you were too busy dwelling on him in the past. How can you know all about presence, Patricia? And then I'm going to shut up here. You know all about presence. You know all about the power it gives us.
Mm.
But yet you're choosing to turn away from the present moment every time you think of the past. You can't be there and here at the same time. You can't. Well, I'm dwelling in the present moment. I can be thinking of the past. No, it don't work like that. If you're thinking about the past, you're in the past. You know, your mind, where your, again, non-physical mind is always trying to keep you grounded in the present moment. Always. But you want what you want, you want what you had, you want what you can't have, and that's going to just put us down into a low vibrational frequency. And that's what's going to keep showing up. There's more low vibrant stuff. So remember, you are the creator. You are the creator. You're an extension of source energy. Be that. Be the change you want to see. Allow yourself to be happy. Say no more. Just like when somebody passes. When somebody passes, before we got on this journey, it took me 10 years to get over the death of somebody, you know? And then once I found out about this acceptance and surrender and forgiveness, when people pass and move on now, why would I feel sorry for them? They're gone. And Lord forbid, there's no more of this suffering. I envy that, if anything. We cry and we hurt because we miss them. That's the attachment. So we have an understanding of what it is. But how much suffering do you have to go through before you say, I just can't suffer no more. I can't take this no more. I'm going to give it over to God. What are you really doing? You're accepting the isness of it and saying, I'm done with it. So accept whatever it is you need to accept of your past and get out of that present moment, woman.
Okay, got it.
You gotta find gratitude in the events that happened. Like you're no longer together, find gratitude in there. It's there. Trust me.
Right now, I'm feeling so filled with gratitude for all of you, for every single word and energy you're giving me. So
You are such an amazing person, and I'm sure I'm speaking on everybody on this panel here, and probably every member that even touched base with you for 2 seconds. You have a lot to offer this world. You have already offered us such a beautiful piece of you through your growth. I mean, I'm looking back 6 months ago, and you was, and now you're damn near, I mean, you're just this big, beautiful ball of loving energy. So when I come on and see this, that stinks. Because we all really do want the best for you, because you deserve that. Don't ever forget it. I'm done.
thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm getting so much love today. I didn't even know it's going to be about me. I honestly did not know anything that it's going to happen. And then Poonam said, oh, I don't have a question. And that came up. I'm like, oh, I guess you do. Thank you, Caesar. I appreciate
Incredible,
it.
Caesar. Thank you. And this is something what Caesar said reminded me another Dr. Joe Dispenza thing. He says, when we are suffering and our friend is suffering, both of us are suffering, we are telling the universe, just like Caesar acted it out, oh, divine, flow through me and surprise me and give me more suffering. Right? Let me dwell in the unknown and let me manifest more suffering. That's what we are doing when we are and what we have to remember, Patricia, like I said, right, when our energies are lowered, when our presence is lowered, right, our body is one, and this is what Dr. Jodis said, the memories are stored in our body, and our body will take us back to those old feelings. So this not letting go of this is a habit that you have. And I've told both Francesca and you, and I've talked about it during the Facebook Live Q&A. The moment you see, hey, I'm going in my past, and I'm not letting go of my past. I want to, and look at that, that you pick up such tall tasks of, oh, I want to change my brother. Did your brother ask that he wants to be changed? Or did your friend ask that they want to be changed? Or did the coworkers ask that they want to be changed? No, but you create that unrealistic task for yourself and then judge yourself, oh, I'm not meeting my goal of wanting to change the world.
Right.
So look at that. That's what your body does. That is a conditioned pattern. The shadow work that Kelly talks about, that's your shadow, that you want to excel. Like now that you realize spiritual work, you want to be excellence in spiritual work, but you see that other people are not accepting your spiritual work, and that means you're not being excellent. And that's where the lack and incompleteness is coming from. Because you yourself are setting the bar that I need to change my coworkers. I need to change my brother. I need to change my father. I need to change. No, even Eckhart was not able to change his mother. His mother was an incessant talker. The mother was constantly in ego. He was not able to. So if Eckhart's presence power cannot change his mother, we cannot change the world. We can only change the people that we can change, right? And all we can do is work on our presence power. We talk about the reconditioning of the body. Let me go to Michelle. Michelle, you want to say some things? I know you've given us a lot of feedback on chat, so thank you so much.
Oh, no,
Grateful.
not at all. I think the pain body and the ego has taken over the driver's seat for a little bit here.
Oh, you no kidding.
Yeah, I think you've handed the wheel over and it's time to take it back,
This
right?
is
Your
that back
presence
door,
power.
right? Back door. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking that I
Yeah.
got it. I got it.
And then once you start with the victimhood, right? Like, oh, this person's rejecting me, or I'm not good at what happened, I'm not good enough, what did I do? You know, and you start to rehash all of that, right? Or trying to say, I want this for them, right? Or I think you said something about, I wanted them to understand, right? That's like the ego, like, you know, I want you to see my point of view and how I'm seeing things. And you know, what starts to happen is when you just dive into that presence power and you root down deep, you kind of realize that when you're able to be equanimous in that state, you know, that's the biggest gift you can give yourself. You're looking for it outside and you have the key. It's just, we forget, right? We get clouded by, you know, and especially I understand, like when you're not feeling well or you're not sleeping well, right? And you're dealing with being uncomfortable or sick or tired. Yes, I think that's like a big, like, windows opening up for the ego to come back in, say, I'm inviting you back in, right? So you have to be extra vigilant. Like when I'm in certain situations that I'm going to be tested, I have to be, and I've noticed when I've been into those where with people that are not in that frequency that I, you know, with our groups or at satsang or when I go to retreat or whatever, or yoga, that, and I'm entering in a space where I'm not with those types of people, my presence power in the past year, I could just feel it. There's a different shift in me and I see people with a different set of eyes, more compassion, and I don't get triggered as much anymore. So it's practice, you know, and I think the meditations for me, even though I don't meditate for a long time, I ask. You know, when you're in those moments where the ego and the pain body have taken over, I ask for help and guidance and giving it up. Because sometimes that's what you need to do. And that, I think for me, that's worked, you know. And then for sure, I mean, there's not much more to add than what this amazing
Michelle,
satsang has already shared, you know.
I think that's what the grace gave me tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I asked and for help with that question, and all of you just gave me so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's the gratitude, right? So now tonight before you go to sleep, say, look at that grace, right? Like I didn't like, she didn't have the question and I just posed the question and then the whole conversation took, I mean, and then just be filled with joy for that small thing, right? We have, like, we think that joy comes in these big packages filled with ribbons and bows, and because that's where we be conditioned, but the joy is not there. It's in the simple revelations of surrendering and what the grace that comes from that, and seeing the synchronicities, even if they seem inconsequential. Sometimes we really have to just open our eyes to that, you know, to that doorway, because what we've been conditioned to think brings us joy is not that, you know. So being at peace with who you are and what you've been able to do. And maybe this is exactly, I mean, I'm sure this is exactly what you need. You need the space to work on yourself. You need to not be distracted, right? And just have that space to be able to focus on your own presence power, you know? And that's the gift, to not be distracted, because you know how many people that are raising children say, I can't work on my spiritual practice because I'm raising kids, and that is your spiritual practice, right? But people want the time. Now you have the space to work on your spiritual practice, and you want the, right? You want the people to, like,
Oh my God, you're right. Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So we always think the grass is greener on the other side, you know? And as for satsang, I mean, obviously we have this, right? But there's other venues. You know, if we reach out to other like-minded, you know, as I mentioned, I think through Ram Dass, they have a fellowship, right? That I'm sure in New York City,
I try, I think, one or two other groups, but just wasn't it.
it didn't resonate for you.
No.
Maybe it's not time yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are the ones. I mean, I do listen to in the morning, sometimes when I'm going through my routine, I do listen to Muji a lot.
Yeah, love him.
He's just, he has that knife, but he does it with a very gentle
Oh,
statement, and it's just, yeah. So
he's velvet or cashmere, right? On the soul. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, just know that and it probably won't be the last time the pain body or the ego comes in, right? And just, okay, here it is again. I'm going to give it up and I'm going to need help. This, you know, I need help. And then you'll just see it as it's happening.
I think
Yeah.
it's what even Eckhart Tolle in his last video from Friday said, welcome it, whatever may go wrong, welcome it. And I think that's still the part I'm hearing him. It's like, how I don't want to welcome this. And then I am welcoming by being negative, right? So I am doing it.
Yeah, it's what he says, what you resist persists, right? And then, you know, like Caesar said, right? It just, you know, you're just going to manifest more of it. So just try to catch it earlier.
I manifested all of you guys, so I must have done something right.
Grace, gratitude for that. Gratitude for that. You have a long list of things to be grateful for. So just try to do that at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day before you go to sleep. Get you in a good space. Namaste, my friend. Namaste.
Namaste, Michelle. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle. Francesca, did you want to add on? Sorry about keeping you so late.
No.
Oh, that's okay.
Francesca, isn't that crazy? We both said we need to get off and put them at 9, and this is the conversation.
I know. And we both worked on the same problem pretty much, because that's exactly what I've been going through with my family, as you know, in the last, I don't even know how long it has been now. But it's over in that I've transcended. I'm grateful to have done that. It, you know, took all the beautiful work that Kelly and Caesar and Michelle and everybody, Poonam, that everybody spoke about in our group today. And wow, what wealth of wisdom. And, you know, I just want to say, like Michelle just said, or I think you're the one that just said, you manifested all of us. We are your friends too, right? We're your soul family. We're your family. And, you know, what I've learned from my own, you know, experience and what I'm hearing that's coming up for you is the need for acceptance. That was what mine came down to. I did all this work. Why can't they see me? Even my ex, who doesn't matter to me anymore, I was like, oh my God, why can't he see me? Why are they still gossiping about me? Why are they treating me like I'm the old version of myself? And I was whirling in these why, and they were consuming me. And like Michelle said, it's when the egoic state of mind and the pain body comes online, because that's what happened to me when I found out that, my mom had cancer and that she was going to die. And my entire inside went, oh no, 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 it started with questioning the universe, and then it became, in the end, I ended up thanking my sister. So what I'm hearing is acceptance, the need for acceptance, right? So there is something within you that's looking for that acceptance from your family and from even the people around you. And again, I'm seeing a connection between your relationship with your mom, your brother, and even that beautiful friend of yours you talked about, and some of the things that's happening at work in that regards. I'm seeing there's a connection there in relation, and it comes down to that acceptance. Again, goes back to acceptance. So somewhere within you, you're looking for acceptance, is what I'm feeling that's coming up. And so the question I would recommend asking yourself is, where within me am I not accepting myself? Like, what parts of myself, am I not accepting? Is it the beautiful being that you've become, that you've evolved into, that you already are, that's doing this beautiful work and that has so much to share with this world? There is, again, this is all linked. So I love it because it's all linked. One of the questions I would invite you to ask, because I was actually stuck exactly where you were. Actually, I was stuck where you were for over a year, is who is telling me that I'm lonely? Right? Who's telling me that I don't have anything to offer? Who is telling me that I'm falling behind? These are all the stories, because who's telling you? The answer is the same person, right? But ask yourself that question, because, Poonam touched on something that's really, really important. That reminded me of something I was reading. I was reflecting on the work I wrote. I did some deep work on myself right after my heart attack. I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza. And again, these stories that the mind is creating around loneliness and not being accepted and so forth, right? In my case, it was because it's in relation to my physical body. He says, if you place all of your attention on the body, then I have to play by, in my case, I was thinking, oh my God, I have to play by this 3D reality. Therefore, I have to play by the rules of this three-dimensional reality. Therefore, everything will take time, right? Example, I have to take medication because of my healing. And so there was like limiting beliefs upon limiting beliefs. But what we don't realize is when we think all of those thoughts, all the thoughts that you're thinking in relation to loneliness, not being accepted, not having anything to share, and so forth, what you're doing is the field around your body will start to shrink, your energetic field, right? And what happens when that shrink, as you become more matter. And as you become more matter, you become less energy, more particle, and less wave. So you are robbing your own, these egoic, state of mind, these thoughts is actually draining yourself from the inside as you're thinking them. And when it's robbing you, it's eating that, your life force energy through these thoughts. It's shrinking your vibration, your energetic vibration. And you're becoming that matter. Right?
That's what Poonam was saying too. Yeah.
Yes, matter. Yes. It was Poonam mentioning that reminded me of I'm like, oh my God, this is, so it's like we're on the same journey in so many ways. I see a lot of synchronicity in relation to the family healing and so forth. And like my mom's funeral is on Saturday, the celebration of life. I'm not even invited. but I'm okay with it. I'm like, okay then, because I realized that, and again, understanding here is the key. It's the foundation of everything. I understand that my sisters are doing what they need to do for them, for their healing journey. I've come a long ways in my journey, and I'm grateful for how far I've come. In fact, this weekend, on Sunday, I was writing how grateful I was how grateful I am actually to my sister, because if she hadn't put me through this hell, and it felt like hell as I was going through it, to be really honest, there was depths of inner work that I needed to do that I couldn't have seen otherwise. Bye, Kelly. Thank you so much for your beautiful wisdom as well today.
Lots of love, everyone. See you soon.
See you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have seen, the depth of work that I needed to do on myself that, arised in the process of me doing this self-examination, asking all of those questions, right? And in the end, I severed that energy cord, but in the most beautiful way, because at the end of my women's retreat on Saturday, I was lighting a candle for my sister's healing. And I had no plans to do that. I didn't even know that's what I was going to do. So, coming into the understanding, here's what's happening in relation to your family. You are, seeking acceptance from people who are unable to see you because they're not at the level where you're at. Their consciousness haven't yet evolved the way in which yours, at the level in which yours have evolved. So you're able to see them and you're able to see, oh my God, these are all the things that's happening. But here is the thing, they cannot see you. And the reason they cannot see it's because they're still in a way, unfortunately, further behind you when it comes to their evolution. They're in those states of unawareness, right? So, again, I recommend when those thoughts arise in relation to loneliness, ask yourself, who's telling you you're lonely?
Right, like Rupert Spira said, on whose behalf are you feeling the loneliness?
Yes, yes. Because
then it disappears. It just disappears. I realize that's not me. Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's the nature of the mind, the egoic state of mind will make up stories, to keep you stuck in its, limiting beliefs. It literally keeps you, because that's how it feeds. It feeds on that negative energy, it feeds on that darkness, and the pain body feeds on that darkness as well. I call them pain body entities, right? They feed, they cling, and they feed. And as long as it keeps you, disillusioned by the reality of what's happening, because it's generating these thoughts of what's happening, which is far from the truth.
And guess what? Instead of feeling gratitude for those information, like what always Caesar, says, is I beat myself up.
Yeah.
It's like that, again, I try to grow spiritually and they're still coming up, so I'm not doing it right. And
so go back to examine what within you that you're not accepting, because I see a lot, like, again, this beautiful Patricia, whom have done all of this extraordinary work that has this wealth of wisdom, so there is a journey here to self-love in that regards, that the egoic state of mind is blocking you from seeing yourself. And I mean, that's normal in the journey, the eye cannot see itself, and it's our journey. It is our job to teach our egoic state of mind how to see, right? And in Buddhism, they call it developing the right mind, right? So it's our job to teach it that, oh, no. For me, I'm like with my ego, oh, no, what you're thinking is wrong. And then sometimes I tell it to shut the F up. I've sworn it. Oh, believe me, this month was the first time I've sworn at it more than I have in a long time, because I'm trying not to use, negative, like swear words anymore. It's something I'm working on. And so, yeah, because it can be persistent, because it's trying to feed, it's hungry, and here you are starving it out, right, by doing this beautiful work.
Patricia, just don't
Sorry,
I
go
just
ahead.
wanted to, once, I'm sorry. Just don't be so harsh on yourself. I'm not doing it right. When you said that, that just kind of like a sword through my, like, it's okay. You know, it's a
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, who's telling you you're not doing it
Yeah,
right? There
it's
is the question
like,
again. Who is telling you you're not doing it right? Right? And what is doing it right? Really? Right?
Very
you're
good.
all right. You're all right. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
You
I got
know,
a lot of
for
goosebumps today. I just want you all to know there are a lot of goosebumps, and yeah, you stirred a lot of stuff, but you did it in such a compassionate and loving way that I was able to see it. So thank you very much.
thank you. Thank you. And one more thing I would recommend looking at as well too is look at your beliefs around friendships and what you think a relationship or a friendship should be, because there's possibility you might be carrying imprints of what that should look like based on what our egoic state of mind program us to think that should look like versus the true essence of that. And so as you form that relationship of trust and love and understanding and compassion with yourself, it will teach you, you know, the wisdom of what that relationship should look like with everybody, right? And you know, I think it was Michelle that mentioned in, you know, if you know, need be, if it requires that as you're evolving in this journey, you know, you feel like, okay, maybe I need company today, I need to go out and meet people or whatever the case may be. Her suggestions were beautiful in relation to kirtan, right? Going, if you look up online, you will see there's kirtan groups. Sometimes I go, you know, for the first time this year, I've actually been to, we have what's called ecstatic dance here. So it's like we do qigong, then we go into meditation, and then we close our eyes, and there's no speaking at all throughout the entire 2 hours or however long we're dancing for. And we're just feeling into our energy in our bodies, and we're dancing and we're moving to the most amazing high vibrational music. And you know, these are people that I meet. I've known some of them for 8 years, and for many years I haven't seen any of them yet. When we get together, it's like, oh, we never even, you know, missed a beat. It's like all these years, you know, we hadn't missed each other. So you know, look into events in that regards, because what's going to happen, you're going to meet like-minded people who are on this journey that are like you, that you can relate to and that can relate to you. You know, you won't have to compromise, you know, yourself, your authenticity, to shift how you have conversations.
There's still
Right?
there's still a lot of judgment that comes up even within that time to thrive. You know, all us on the same journey to try to offer, turn our mass into message, all the stuff, and all I see myself is completely comparing myself to. It's like, oh my God, each one of these people have so much more to offer, and why am I even here to think that I can do this? It's like stuff like this comes up, and then I'm very disappointed. It's like, what do you mean you were so happy to start this? You know, you involved into it. You saw the potential, something like vibrated with enthusiasm in your soul to do this, and now you're getting down again. It's just.
And remember what Michelle said, the egoic state of mind, which I agree with, it comes online, right? But you, and because it's online, it's blocking your ability to remember. Remember what Tony Robbins said in that Time to Thrive challenge? Your story is your offer. Every single person have a different story. You have a different story. Your story is your offer. So you do have something to share.
But I don't, apparently, you know, it's like, I don't value it. I don't think that he says that, and I look at so many different dots and stuff, and then it's like, really not. And yeah, so that my own voice of not acceptance, like you said, it's coming up.
Yes. Yes. And again, it will lead you back into So I recommend doing that work on non-acceptance, including, reviewing the stories that your mind is telling yourself, right? And again, asking those questions: who's telling you this? Who's telling you these thoughts? Who's telling you that, you don't have a story? I think
And
you
the
have a
answer,
power.
yeah, and the answer is in the question,
Yes, absolutely.
right
The
there.
mind, right? And remember, the egoic state of mind, we actually programmed it, sadly, unfortunately, because we were taught to program it the wrong way. So what it does, it actually, lies to us, because its perception of the reality of what's happening, its perception of what's happening versus what's really happening. This is why the Buddha said everything is an illusion. It creates a story, and it pulls information from our pain body, right? So that acceptance that you're looking for. So it's using that pain body to create the story that it wants you to believe, because this is how it survives, right? And it is up to us again to teach it, the right way of thinking, right? We have to teach it how to think. And this is actually the foundation of the work that I'm doing a lot of with my daughter Charlotte, because she's 11, and she's getting new pathways in that area of her brain. And as the new pathways come into formation, I could see her, she would say something like, who's telling you that? I'm like, ask yourself the question, who's telling you that? Because I'm like, that thought that you just had, what you just told me, that's actually not true, right? So I use it as all, teachable moments, because
So you actually teaching her to question her own.
oh, absolutely, yes, to question it, because, and that's what the Buddha said, question everything. And that's why he said to question everything, because even as we evolve in this journey, and this is very normal, like what's happening to you has happened to me so many times, and it will happen along the way. That's why on the Tibetan tanka behind me, like in between the veils, there's like fire and different elements, because we, I call it tests. We get tested, or, there are obstacles that come up, and these obstacles are different formations of the mind, of the yogic state of mind, and of the pain body, right? And sometimes
I just want to finally live it, because my mind wants to understand it, on the intelligence level. So I love the different perceptions, but then when am I gonna start living this?
So it does take time, Patricia. And again, I think you're going to have some breakthroughs once you do that self-examination around acceptance. And it's normal, this journey, it goes in waves, right? Up and down, because again, the down happens when there is more that we need to learn, right? There is something that we need to work on. It's a long journey, and I know there is like a lot out there that makes us think that, we're getting left behind, or all these people are doing this stuff, and I'm not. Hold on a moment, I just have to open the door for my daughter. I'm coming.
Yeah, I guess it's time to end our beautiful session.
It's getting late for you, Patricia.
Yeah, I didn't.
You were not watching the time.
I think, Poonam, that my body didn't want this. That's when my mind said, oh, I need to get off at 9, because I kind of, the conscious almost like knew what the session will be about, which will be really about me. It became, but I didn't want to sit with it. Like I was afraid that I won't be able to hear, but I actually sat through and was very present.
One of the things I would say is, I think I may have messaged Francesca about this. You have to realize Tony and Dean, the way they work, right? They are there to generate energy. They are there to generate enthusiasm. You World Summit, you'll see people go crazy, just like unleash the power within, right? People will be dancing, people will, but you keep your path, your path, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to look at Francesca. Like Oprah had a beautiful analogy. She said when she was doing what's it called, track. She used to run track. She
Mhm.
said the moment you look at the person next to you, where they are, is when you'll fall back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to look at, oh, these people are able to answer who their dot is, or this other person, like Agatha, whose videos I share. She already has a website. She's doing her vegan living cuisine thing. She does beautiful videos and everything. That's her. She started with me. That's her. It doesn't mean that I have to be where she is, but I enjoy her videos. I enjoy her growth. I actually pattern her growth. Like I model it because she's already done. So what they do is on during the World Summit, he's going to, he always uses each of the challenges to pitch another sale.
Right.
So
Yes.
he's going to
Yes.
do. He's
They're
going to do
targeting that subconscious mind.
right,
Yeah.
and he'll create an urgency, and he's going to teach you that is the marketing strategy, that you talk to your dot about what is relevant. He'll say, oh, look at the economy right now, there's inflation right now, nobody can don't wait on the government to fix anything, right? He's going to create that urgency and then make you want to do the next thing.
So where you're feeling lack, then you will cling to what he's saying. And before you know it, you've spent all this money and you don't even
you're
know.
signing up for
you know.
something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they
So it's
sign.
almost like at this moment, I had those thoughts, maybe I made a mistake and I got played because I was so vulnerable. And now, maybe it's really lying to myself that this is for me.
You shouldn't.
No.
You shouldn't look at the self-talk, Patricia. That is going down the negative path. Now you made that action. It is the universe telling you something. You don't know. You may not do it this month. You may not do it next month. 2 years from now, maybe 4 years from now, you'll do something with the same information. Any knowledge that we gain, because even I took that course last year, right? Any knowledge we gain is knowledge, right? Our
Yes.
soul needed in
Yeah.
that moment, our soul needed it, right? But
And it takes time to birth our purpose. Like I've been working on mine for 8 years, and every day, like when something happens that's huge in my life, like in relation to my mom's death and everything just happened, I'm like, oh my God, there is more that I need to do on myself. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop teaching or sharing the wisdom that I've come into so far. It means okay, this is the time for me to pause and pay some attention to myself. And in relation to my physical healing, this is the time for me to work on my physical healing and heal myself. It's part of what we are in this human form, I guess, in this three-dimensional reality that we live in, right? But again, like Poonam said, maybe 2 years from now you will have you might have developed something. Maybe a year from now, you could use, I guess, I what I do is I use the adrenaline. So what I did with Tony and Dean's Time to Thrive course was, because I was in this, felt like a rut, between my surgery and all the medical complications, and and then there was a fear because of the 5 strokes. I was like, well, I don't know 100% sure all the areas, in all the ways in which this stroke has impacted me. So far, I'm walking and talking, and I'm grateful for all of this. And what about this, wisdom? Can I still access it, right? So what I did is I've been using that, to, in a way, test myself out. But that's me giving myself peace of mind, right? So here I am, on the mastermind platform, entering my healing, the parts of my healing modalities. I'm building my course. And then I realized a few days ago that this platform might not be suitable for my offering, because I have to cut important parts of it off. It's just not flowing. It's not aligning, right? And so today I had the call with them, and I mentioned, where I was getting stuck, or where, I felt like there wasn't enough on the platform, or where I feel it wasn't meeting my needs and so forth. And so they're looking into that right now. And they were so grateful for the feedback. They're like, wow, Francesca, because what I've done, I actually made a suggestion where they can actually improve their platform for people whose content are like mine. That's, which is very deep and heavy in a good way, like spiritually, right? And there are parts of it that I can't cut off, that I don't want to cut off, right? Because it's important to teach those parts in order to help people to understand how we have been serving our own suffering, since beginningless time, thanks to the programming of our very
And
own.
you had to cut them off because they wasn't
They
space.
only allow 2,500 words of in that section to type. And then I was like, okay. And so when I'm type writing and doing anything in relation to my purpose, I'm actually channeling. So I'm like connected, to that divine energy. So I'm like in deep, presence and so forth. And so one of the things I thought it would be really nice for the platform to have is, and I mentioned it to them today, is so for myself, as I'm, channeling and typing in this 2,500, amount paragraph, there were little pieces, maybe like another, 2 or 3 sentences that I would have liked to add. Or because I'm not able to add those sentences, it would have been nice if there was an option for me to video myself speaking right away, because I'm in that divine state of connection, right? And I want to like, okay, go, click on it and then video myself teaching right away so that it captures, what I mean? It's kind of like a whole, yes, exactly. But instead I have to stop and then figure out, oh my God, where in my, I have to go to Zoom, and then I find out the platform doesn't accept Zoom videos. And I have 21 days of my course already pre-recorded because I taught it for 21 days on Zoom. And so, I keep coming up with these different, where I'm getting stuck. And
you can download the Zoom video. What I did was I put it on YouTube as an unlisted video, and then I put the link, Francesca.
Yeah, mine wasn't allowing me to put it on YouTube because it says that it's an M.M4A file, which is what Zoom is. And so I have to do a conversion, is what it's telling me according to YouTube.
Is it an audio file?
Yes,
Zoom?
even as an audio file. So I'm like,
you don't have it as
oh
a
my
video.
God, now
you don't have it as a
I
video.
have it as a video. Yes, I do.
I do that. I upload, a lot of the teaching videos that I do for the group, they are
okay. Maybe we'll talk about that because
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, now I have to go purchase Adobe Photoshop, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not going to happen, right?
You can just download the Zoom video. You can just download the direct video, the Zoom video, and then upload it to YouTube, and then use the link into the mastermind platform. That's how I did my course.
For some reason, mine wasn't letting me do it. So yeah, I would love to talk to you about that. Anyway, I know I'm going deep into mastermind here, getting back on track, Patricia. Like I said, I think you have a lot to offer. Like our story becomes, our life's purpose, manifestation. All of these beautiful parts of our stories, for me, like my God, I wish I was prepared to talk about my course to give you examples of how, so every time I came into wisdom, like understanding, having, worked on something, like, for example, I'm going to now include a part for grief, transcending grief in my teaching. So now I'm going to expand my teaching after all of this that happened, right? Because I was able to transcend my mom's death when I was in silence.
Just the last question. I know we've really gone very far, and I don't know if people that are watching, they're familiar with that program, but what is your dot?
My dot? I was going to come back to that for you. So here is the thing, because of the type of, I'm finding for myself, because of the type of healing modality and what I'm teaching, my dot doesn't fit into what they're referring to as a dot. So for example, my mission, or I call it my mission, or my purpose is to teach humanity how to exit their cycles of suffering and enter the path of wholeness, or the path of dharma, right? So moving out of suffering, and so that they can experience and express their divinity, right, which is our highest conscious self, right?
But that's
And
exactly, you're right. That's exactly what they say not to do, because it's too just too
exactly.
general and universal.
Yeah, and that's not, and so again, this is one of the areas I see where, okay, what I've created does not really fit into this mold.
But
So
who
am
you
I
want
going to
but,
compromise what I've created to fit into a mold that it doesn't fit into?
right.
No,
but
no,
who,
no.
But
I've-
if you wanted to talk to someone right now, who you want to talk to?
So for
Anybody?
me, anybody that's willing to, or that's ready, I should say, anybody that's ready to awaken to their highest conscious self, to experience and express that divine act, who wants to heal, like Caesar was mentioning earlier, when we're working with people, for example, people with addiction, it's harder, it takes them longer to get ready. So what I do, for example, when I meet somebody, I do like a 40-minute interview. So from that interview, there's specific questions that I ask, and those questions are designed to show me whether this person is ready to commit to this healing or
But
not, or
isn't
whether
that
they're
narrowing?
just,
Is it that narrowing your dot? Can you use answers to those questions as your dot?
I don't think of it that way, but probably, yeah.
Because this
I
way,
just don't,
if you
because
describe
dot is
what,
their
what the
terminology.
question is.
Yeah.
So your dot might be people who answer yes to those questions or no to those
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
There you
And
go.
I did a Facebook experiment, because Facebook, I was surprised they were looking at the information I've been sharing online all these years. And I've been, when I come into wisdom, I share it, from time to time and so forth. And I received calls from them a year ago, last year before my heart attack. And they said, Francesca, we would like to help you get your, what is this work that you're sharing out there. I was shocked, actually. I was like, what do you mean, right? And so they're like, we will train you. So they actually offered me free training on how to use Facebook to help, so that I can use it to help me campaign and get more views and all of this stuff. And I actually still have the phone number for the people that I'm working with there, because they were giving me training and guidance, like step by step, what I needed to do. And interestingly, when I did the experiment, I did a campaign. I got to see, for example, where more people who resonate with what I'm teaching is coming from. So, for example, I found out like, my audience, the bigger part of my audience, and I was shocked because I thought it was, in the US and Canada and stuff. It was actually in the UK. So, again, things like that, I've learned from sharing. And I don't do a lot of sales or marketing, to be really honest. I've always, received my clients through word of mouth. Oh, you're on mute, Patricia.
The last question, because I know I'm like feel guilty about the time today, because sometimes I do only have like 10-15 minutes to speak, like to present. How do you manage, because you have so much information that it just keeps flowing, even when you say you try, but the audience will not have all that time to listen. So how do you time yourself to just do it 10-minute one? It's like,
so
when you cutting off, because that's exactly, I sometimes had just also a lot of thoughts, but I said, I need to really concentrate on one today, one message, so they can hear me through all that noise of other stuff, which is always important, but you got to prioritize. Thank you.
So in relation to that, for me, it was very difficult at first, because I didn't show up, for a long time because of that, because I was like, oh my God, my wisdom just flows. How am I going to stop? How am I going to time myself? And oh my God, I think I probably spent about a year delaying showing up because of that, because I couldn't figure out how to do that. And then you know what? I started, it was actually when I went to Mind Valley that I started embracing, more flow and becoming more present, like comfortable with myself in that. I'm like, you know what? They say I have 10 minutes. I'm just going to, enter that, divine state of consciousness, do my thing, like do what I do. And I'm going to trust that the universe will orchestrate everything in its power. And however long I take. And you know what? The surprising thing I've been finding, the more I did that, the more I surrendered to that, the more everything was falling into place when it came to time. And if I went extra, people were like so focused. They didn't even want me to stop talking. I was like, oh my God. They were asking questions, they were engaged. And I was like, wow. And that 10 minute became, when I did those 21 days, that was 2.5 hours per day that I thought for, like we were, teaching. And so it was like about 40 minutes long meditation, 45 minutes or so, depending on the type of meditation. We start with the meditation. Oh my God, everybody loved the divine light meditation. And we start with that every day. So we start with that meditation, then we get in, I would get into the teachings.
Yeah, but it's different when you have like, when we have a workshop, they were saying, but Poonam still has to, for every speaker, you only have like 45 minutes because there needs to be management of time because of other people. So you just can't like kind of take over and just say, okay,
no,
divine will let me
exactly.
talk over
Yeah.
everybody else and stuff like that.
So after that comes with practice, Patricia. After a while, it starts to happen. And the more you practice speaking, sharing your wisdom, the more, there's I don't know if the right word is attunement, but there is something that happens and it just naturally starts to happen on its own over time. Yeah, that comes with practice from sharing over time.
You're way past your bedtime, Patricia. An hour past your bedtime.
And I'm way past.
So,
yeah.
Infinite gratitude. Sri Lakshmi is online with us. Patricia, thank you so much
Thank you
for the
so much, Sri
question.
Lakshmi.
And thank you, Francesca.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you,
night.
ladies. Good
Many
night.
blessings.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you.
wonderful
everybody.
evening. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Blessings to
Bye.
everyone.